All right, here we are. Finally making a new episode of the Lemans build. You can see I pulled the hood off with the help of a friend. The LS is still sitting here, so that's good. So now, today I'm going to attempt to move the engine backward a couple of inches to see if that will help clear the oil pan a little bit better. Because right now the oil pan basically hits everything. So, these motor mount adapter plates, these things, these have a bunch of different spots for the motor mounts to sit on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the bolts right here, and then there's one in the bottom. I don't actually know if I can reach the one in the bottom or not, but I'm going to try like heck. So I'm going to try and pull those off and then slide the whole engine back about 2 inches. I'll get under the car in just a second and show you where the transmission mount is and how basically the whole engine needs to go back. Behind the engine, you can see there's actually a ton of space. I can probably move this, I don't know, 3 inches backwards pretty safely without too much drama. So hopefully, if I can go about 2 inches back and get that motor mount or the transmission mount in place, then maybe my oil pan won't hit so hard. I'm thinking it's still going to be a problem, but just probably not quite as bad. In which case, I'm going to add some spacers between the frame mount here and the frame. I'm thinking if I do like maybe a 3/16 or a 1/4 inch spacer between the frame and the motor mount bracket, or frame perch, or frame stand, or whatever the hell you want to call these things, that should raise it up enough to not hit the crossmember. So, moral is, that's where I stand. I'm going to hop under the car next, and I'll do a quick showing of the transmission mount, and then it'll make more sense. All right, see you in a bit. Oh, look at all this. Whoa, sorry. Okay, so this is the transmission pan. You can see up here's a torque converter. Okay, so anyways, back here is the transmission mount. And I'm going to try to show you exactly what we're working with here. Sorry for my finger. Okay, so you can see that is the bolt hole, or the bolt of the transmission mount, and it needs to go in that hole. So you can see this transmission needs to move back somewhere between 2 to 3 inches, I would say. Right now I have it jacked up on a jack stand, or not a jack stand, but a jack with a piece of wood under the pan. So once I get these motor mounts up front freed up, right up here, once I get those things unbolted, I should be able to slide the whole engine and transmission backwards, and maybe the transmission, or the oil pan won't hit the chassis so hard. Let's slide under here and you can see where it hits. Wow, that's pretty wild. All right, so you probably saw this in one of the other videos, but you can see the oil pan is basically touching the steering, the steering linkage. It's also hitting the cross member down here, which, sorry for my light situation, it sort of sucks. So yeah, it's hitting the cross member, it's hitting the steering, it's basically just hitting everything. So I'm going to try to move everything backwards and gain a little bit of space. And we'll see what that gets me. And when that doesn't work, I'll jack up these motor mount brakes, or brackets here, and maybe that'll help. And if that doesn't work, then I'm probably going to have to do something about this oil pan, because it's like, I don't know, it's probably 2.5 inches tall on the front, and I know that the Camaro pans are not as tall in the front as these truck pans are, so I might just switch this pan out for a Camaro pan. I don't really want to spend the money on it, but sometimes you just gotta do it. So we'll see. All right, let's get started. I decided to go for the impossible bolt first, the one that I can't really reach very well without this swivel nonsense on here. And I actually broke it loose. I had to use a 1/2 inch breaker bar to do it, but once I got it loose, I just threw the 3/8 on here, and now I can spin it out. So I'm pretty excited about that. So I got it loose on this side. The other side looks like it's going to be harder to do, but I'll get these ones out, and I'll move on to the driver's side. All right, keep watching. Fun fact, it is like 46 degrees in the garage, and I just tried to turn this on, and of course it doesn't work, because that's life. Yeah, I just turned it on, well, I just plugged it in, and over in the front, it got like red, but the blower itself didn't turn on. So, yeah, so that's good. I have 1/4 of a tank of, or 1/3 of a tank, however, well, something. Either way, I have kerosene in it. And it just doesn't turn on. So that's pretty great. Anyways, alright, back to Lemans. Over here. I did end up getting all 3 bolts out, which is pretty great. You can see them right here. Ta-da! So yeah, these are the 3 bolts from the passenger side. So now I'm going to try to get the bolts out of this side, and this side is going to be much trickier because there's just a lot of stuff around this bottom bolt. I have no idea how I'm going to do this, but I'll figure it out somehow. All right, let's try it out. Okay, I was able to do it. I got all 3 bolts out of the driver's side. I have no clue how I will ever get the bottom one back in, because it was a nightmare to take out. Took a lot of swivels, and yeah, got it out. So now, the motor is not bolted to the vehicle anymore. So I'm going to take these 2 pry bars. Both of them are broken. This one you can see it's broken up here. This one doesn't look broken, and then you're like, oh yeah, it's actually broken down here. It's a snap-on though, so I really should try and get a new one. This one is probably not a snap-on. Either way, I'm going to try and pry this engine back 2 inches with these pry bars, and hopefully it'll move. And then maybe I can get the transmission to line up, and it's all just going to drop into place. I'm sure of it. All right, let's see what happens. All right, let's straighten out the jack. That way the jack can go back. Now, what can I pry on? This is laughable. Wiggles a little. So it's just a matter of sliding it backwards. Maybe I lift up a little, I pry a little. By the way, don't ever pry on an oil pan, because that's a dumb idea. It's exactly what I'm doing, by the way. It's stupid. Gonna regret it. I'm sure I'll break the oil pan and then I'll regret it forever. Wow. Pretty tight. Pretty tight. Alright, let's lower this jack just a hair. Oh, that might be what we needed. I think the transmission was kind of stuffed up into the transmission, you know, in the tunnel. Huh. I have a new idea. No, I don't. This is dumb. Wow. Stuff's heavy, huh? All right. I'm going to have to think about this one. All right. Think strong thoughts. Be strong. Do strong things. Here we go. All right. Things definitely moved. Whew. All right. By the way, that's not mounted. All right. So I'm here in the engine bay, and I'm gonna hop down onto the car and see if the transmission mount is lined up yet. All right, let's check it out. Okay, getting closer. Oh, crap. We went too far. What are the odds of that? Oh, all right. Hopefully I can just pry it back into place. Ah, crap. All right. Well, I guess I'm going to have to pry a little bit more in the other direction. Okay, let's try this again. Totally thought that was going to go in. Well, maybe. Maybe. Winning. That's what winning looks like. All right, I'm just gonna throw a washer on there for now and a nut just to kind of hold this in place and make sure it doesn't pop out again. Oh, whoops, accidentally put 2 washers on there. So yeah, I'm gonna throw those in place for now just so it doesn't pop out again, and move back to the front and see how far off we are now. I think I can actually see some daylight under the oil pan. Oh, that could be good, folks. Let's see. All right, so the oil pan is definitely still hitting things, but not nearly as bad as it was. So one thing that is clearly going to be a problem, though, is the steering linkage. This steering, Jesus, this pry bar is really in my way. So this steering linkage, as you can see right here, when I turn to the right, this thing is going to move over, and it's going to whack this pan. So I think what I'll probably do is jack up the engine a little bit and see how much space I'll have to jack up the engine to not have the steering linkage hit the pan when I turn the wheel. I don't know, like, I don't really know if this is possible or not. I mean, people do these engine swaps, so it's got to be possible. I'm guessing that they must use one of the F-body or like the hot rod oil pans or whatever the heck they're called, so this doesn't happen. But yeah, I'm going to just throw my floor jack under the oil pan and jack it up a little bit and see what the heck it looks like. So I guess I'll go from there. Okay, I've just jacked it up, and now there's visible space, which you can see right here, between the oil pan and the chassis. Holy moly. So now if I turn the wheel, I wonder what's going to happen. Let me pump up this tire because this tire has gone flat again. I'm going to pump up the tire and then we'll see what the heck happens. Alright, I've just pumped up the tire so it's a little easier for me to turn the steering wheel. And now I'm going to go turn the wheel all the way to the right, and we're going to see how hard this steering linkage hits the oil pan. Should be fun. Alright. That is full lock to the right. You can see it's definitely hitting the oil pan. Oh, this is unfortunate. So that means one of two things. I either need the pan to go up higher, like, let's see, just gonna jack up the pan some more. Like probably that high. Or I need to modify the oil pan again. Or I need to grab an F-body oil pan, which will definitely cost some money. Boy, that's a crappy situation, huh? Well, I guess I might go shopping for an F-body oil pan at this point and see what they cost. Because I think that might be the direction I'm gonna go in. Assuming I can buy one for less than $1 trillion. And if I do, then who knows? Maybe I'll cut up this pan again and kind of make some more videos on how the heck to not weld an oil pan, because I clearly made a disaster the first time. Alright, so I just put the bolts back in the motor mounts. For those of you curious, you want to use the frontmost bolt holes in these adapter plates for your rubber mounts. That is where, that's what gets the transmission to line up properly. So there's a fun fact for you. I know that was something that I was curious about and I couldn't seem to find any definite information on that. So yeah, frontmost bolt holes on the adapters is where you want it. And I think the next thing for me to do is probably to loosen up the frame side of the motor mounts. And I'm going to just stack up some washers or spacers or some sort of junk in there and see if I can get it to jack up enough to not have the steering linkage hit the oil pan. I basically want it right about where it is right now, but it's currently sitting on a jack, as you can see. So I'm going to see if I can somehow finagle this to work with maybe like a 3/16 or maybe up to a 1/4 inch spacer under each frame perch. And yeah, I guess we'll see how that goes. Alright, so here we go, loosening some bolts. Well, that was pretty cool. My phone just got so cold that it didn't want to work anymore. It just turned itself off. So, anyways, moral is, I am going to get some spacers to attempt to space this engine up a little bit. Certainly not as much as this is right now, because this is like 2 inches. But yeah, I'm going to try and space it up. I'm also going to price out an F-body oil pan, and I'm going to see where that takes me. So, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next episode. Have a good one.